what happens in agile development teams is that sometimes there's a pitfall of over-prioritizing the product features over the quality features. And if you keep on doing that, sprint after sprint, and in the end, you run into problems. And the reason for that this is happening is that there is organizational complexity. Basically, the enterprise architect is outnumbered by the developers. In some organizations you have like 10 architects or 20 and 1,000 or 1,500 developers. So it's very hard to deal with that. And another complexity is that the architects, they don't want to control those developers. They want to influence them in a positive way. So they have told us if they would choose between policeman and coach, it would be coach.
So indeed, architects, they don't want to have this dictator role that the developers first have to go to them and then have to ask, could I please do that and can you approve this architectural change? So they don't want to work in that way and it wouldn't be possible. It's also not very agile, and again, they are outnumbered factor 100 to 1. So they want something that development teams do the right thing, but still the architect is involved in the background to coach them a bit on the larger decisions. So that also means they need to familiarize themselves with the current architecture. So I mentioned earlier that PowerPoint is one of their top used tools. That also means that you need to draw these pictures manually. And if you need to do that for every single system and component in your landscape, that takes a lot of time. To the point that I think a couple of the interviewees mentioned it's almost a job in itself, just to get this overview or this vehicle, like what is the actual state of the architecture. So, and people need to do that constantly because, of course, by the time you finished your picture, the architecture has already changed. So then the question is, how can architects be helped in getting an up-to-date view of their architecture across the landscape in every system and every component? That's both factual, so you want it to be correct, but it's also iterative in the way that you kind of see changes over time. And it's not just a photograph you look at once. So that's more on kind of what architects do together in a development organization. Then there's one group that we didn't cover yet, and that's their interaction towards management.
Exactly. What we see in all these interviews, that there is a big difficulty in making decisions on large modernization improvements. Especially architects struggle to convince C-level management to take these decisions and not postponing them. It has to do also with the term that they think of. Sometimes C-level is more on the short term and architects a bit more on the long term. And that postponement keeps on going on. And if that's not solved, then dramatic things can happen.